I'm Jack and I live in Gateshead. As a teenager, I hate traffic. First of all, it is so boring just sitting there for hours, and second of all, it's terrible for your health.
Cars release particles of air pollution through their exhaust, which affects the air that we breathe. More traffic means more pollution, which means worse air, which is an increasing worry in Newcastle upon Tyne, my nearest city. So how do we stop this problem?
I think the best way to stop it is a congestion charge. It's worked in cities like London and more locally Durham, so why wouldn't it work in Newcastle?
A congestion charge makes drivers pay a fee to bring their cars into the city at busy times in the day. In cities like London, it reduces the numbers of cars driving into the city centre. And as Newcastle is the third most congested city in the country, I'm hoping it will have the same effect.
I'm on my way to find out more about it and why it would work or it wouldn't work.
Congestion. Is congestion charging the best way to reduce traffic pollution? I've come to Heaton, 2 miles from Newcastle Centre. It's one of the city's most congested areas, so it's a good place to find out how much the city's air really is affected by traffic fumes. Hello.
Hello.
I've come to meet Ari from Newcastle University, who uses these special monitors to measure air pollution levels.
I've been handing these out to local communities for them to find out what's their pollution in their area.
So I'm going to use Ari's monitor to collect air pollution samples with Julie, a local doctor. I'll look at the results with Ari later. Why are we so worried about this road?
Well, because it's one of the busiest roads in Heaton, and there's a primary school here that's right on the edge of the road. So you've got lots of kids. Yeah.
It's just 2 seconds up the road and you can already smell like the fumes from the cars. I've been researching into the London and the Durham congestion charges. So do you think it would work in areas like this next to primary schools?
Yeah, I think it would. And for people like me, I think there's nothing like a bit of a penalty to make you change your behaviour.
Time to find out what the other side think. Great. I've got a meeting with Stephen, a local businessman, to find out why he thinks a congestion charge isn't a solution.
Hi Jack, nice to meet you.
And how would you think people would react if just the congestion charge would be added into Newcastle?
I think it would be a negative thing. People feel as if they're getting taxed simply for coming into the city centre, and we want more people to use it. We want businesses to be investing in the city centre, employing people.
So I've just had a really good chat with Stephen about the congestion charge, and his main points were it wouldn't really work. But I think I need to know a bit more about congestion charge and why it wouldn't work before I can make my final decision. So I'm going to meet up with Ari again.
Hey.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Let's see the data. So this is the map of the area we were in actually.
So these big red ones over here, what do they mean?
It's red, it means that it's higher amount of particles, and then the sizes as well correlate to is it small amount of particles or high amount of particles. And there are legal limits of how high the particle count can be.
The results in Heaton are similar to the rest of Newcastle, showing high pollution levels. In fact, over 1,000 deaths each year in the northeast of England are caused by air pollution. So I've just had a chat with Ari and I'm actually quite surprised at how much pollution there actually was in Heaton, but I still feel like I need that little bit extra information. So I'm going to go and speak to the council and see what their ideas are.
Hello.
As Director of Public Health for the City Council, Eugene is the perfect person to tell me about the council's view on tackling pollution in the city.
There's been talks of a congestion charge, and would you think that would be a good idea or a bad idea in Newcastle?
Well, one of the things we know is if we don't manage to get the levels of nitrogen dioxide down, and we don't manage to do that through other means, then we'd have to introduce a congestion charge. I think we'd prefer not to have to. We'd like to use other ways of doing that. But there are various things we can do, but ultimately, the one that's going to matter most is getting people to use different kinds of transport, because that not only benefits people in terms of reducing congestion and making it easier to get around, it also reduces the air pollution, it makes people walk more and reduces obesity, gets them fitter at the same time.
So do you think we can change our habits and improve the congestion in Newcastle and the surrounding areas?
Changing people's habits and behaviours is one of the most difficult things that anybody could try and do. But I think there's a real will to do it. And I think people understand now, in a way that they didn't a few years ago, the damage that's being done by pollution from vehicles in the city.
So after speaking to Julie, the congestion charge felt like the right thing to happen. But then, after speaking to Stephen and Eugene, they really changed my opinion, and they made us think about different alternatives like cycling or walking into school.
I don't think that congestion charging is the answer to reducing pollution. It's much more important to change people's habits and get them to use other forms of transport, like my bike.